didn't even know about this. How long y'all been sitting here?
They told us they said it was only 2 of you.
We literally had no idea
Of course. At all.
what was happening. Is it just the 3 of us?
I guess so.
We didn't think it was 3.
It was supposed to be you and Yamara is what they told us.
You and
Well,
Yamara.
where's Yamara?
I can get out. Yamara was in the hallway.
Yeah, y'all are here now. It's a party.
It was Yamara.
Yamara was in the hallway.
It'd be nice to have
All of you are welcome to stay.
Please.
I just want to sit down. I don't want to sit.
Oh, we met him earlier.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
past.
Yeah, he was there too. He was there too.
We're gonna go ahead and get started,
Where's
y'all.
Carl? Did Carl?
I think she might have exited stage left, but if she comes in, we'll let her come in.
Alright.
But thank you guys for being here. Everyone is very excited to speak with you all. We're gonna do this kind of like what we do for most of our press conferences. I'll pass the mic around. You guys get one question. If you have some time left over, we'll pass it around again. All right?
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna start.
Now we're doing this.
Yeah, I didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know this was happening.
You really don't understand. We had zero idea that there was a press. We didn't know anybody was with. We had no idea. And we were up there doing something else, and they were like, "Yeah, the press conference." Like, what are you talking about?
Yes. We had no idea.
Get ready for the best press conference of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Talk about puffing.
Yeah, we talk about.
We're taking all the Diddy questions.
Yamara, come up here.
Help us. You and Gary.
Yeah, we already told him, Yamara, you want to start the first Diddy question?
Yes.
I haven't been invited to any parties
Okay.
at all, like just in
I
general.
went to a parade party. They didn't let me come to the party.
Oh, really?
No peeing.
The dingy part.
No. All right. How do we do this? What happens?
What's going on?
Yeah, well, that's the question.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pass the mic around. Everyone's gonna get one question with you guys. If we have some extra time, we'll pass it around again. But so many people are here eager to see you, so I don't think we're gonna have
Great.
time. All right.
I'm back, yeah. Look, crazy 8th grade, nerdcore rap guy. Got into a dual fate and I just pulled a trap card. 3rd-rate rappers with a 4th-rate catalog. Destined for the shadow realm, y'all should never act hard. Flow is so insidious that I need an apprentice type. Master with the force, peep the context in my sentence, right? Phantom like the Sithis, just don't ask me what my pen is like. They know that I'm the menace, who you kidding? Bitch, I'm Dennis Knight. Sweet to drive, high-headed, rhymes with Shirley Cole. Tested, you can never twist my metal like the jury goes. I ain't never mad when I push it to the max. I got Chris riding with me, bout to turn this bitch to Fury Road. Since animated, I'm the one the crew congratulated. Winners will provide protective cover like it's laminated. Damn, I made this 16 like a guillotine. It's fascinating. If you think that you're ahead, you get decapitated. All that aside, I ain't merely here to rap words. I'm here to tell you who representing for the black nerds. And to remind you, neither one of these are bad words. Biggest living mirrors, they just choose to see it backwards. Who be the leaders of discussion when a topic trends? Dissections got the culture under microscopic lens. Who got the type that you can miss it from the start and make you feel like an expert on the subject by the time it ends? Check the stat, Louis, viewership is mad nice. All these other shows don't seem to cut it, that's a bad slice. Off the books with unscripted jewels you can't write. No vampires, but these interviews don't end right. Yeah, this is the best part. Rhymes on Mandalorian, Independence made a best score. Starting a war with these stars, you won't get far. This is the way you play a game of life or death star. So far removed from the drama, we don't notice harm, but won't hesitate to shed a light like a Patronus charm. With mischief managed, troubles at a disadvantage. Must be something in the water, dip your toe because you know it's warm. Where can you find another show with such a fine cast? And if you try to box them in, they playing Minecraft. And basically to sum it up like you define math, this crew's the best and it figures like a line graph. A merry band like the words I do. Level-headed, you don't have to have absurd IQs. They know you can relate because they're nerds like you. With their help, you'll see the world from a blur's eye view. Yeah. You are now tuned in to Blur's Eye View. And without further ado, we out. Yeah.
Trump.
Don't forget to announce your other name.
This is like the White House.
Kind of was more black people.
And intelligence.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask a question about Trump. He's getting there.
Good afternoon, y'all.
What's up?
First off, I'd like to say happy 20th year anniversary for the Boondocks.
Thank you.
I'm Xavier from Texas Cosmic Creations, and my question is, it seems like almost that the shows, as far as predicting the future, is very relative almost to The Simpsons. What part of the writing or production process allows you to tap into the current and future trends so well?
You wanna go first, Yamara?
You know what? I do have an answer to this question.
There you go.
I think that because we were doing the shirt, which was very topical, and I believe that because Aaron McGruder is very, he was just always up on everything. I think that a part of it is that we kind of got lucky with some stuff, and part of it was just us seeing what was happening in the world and wanting to talk about it. And just kind of being on top of anything topical, you know, we were just kind of following the news and kind of following what was happening culturally, and we had stuff to say about it. Rodney?
I think sometimes too was the subject matter. Like I remember the R. Kelly episode where one of the ideas behind it was Riley would look at it one way, Huey would look at it one way, and they both represented two polarized ideas of how the community would look at the R. Kelly situation. So if you think about it, at some point, R. Kelly was going to be scored how you feel about it. That the chickens were going to come home to roost for R. Kelly. And we just happen to be on the right side of history, I think, in situations like that, but in other ones as well.
I also thought the show with the writing was, you guys did such a good job of writing evergreen topics that these topics will always be in fashion, always be in style, always be up front in the news. Racism is always going to be here. Sexism.
Racism is overdue.
Oh, we fixed it. So yeah, I think you know, to your question, that a lot of the things that were around 2003, 6 when we first started the show is relevant today, is because they always will be.
I don't think this is.
Your front row, you can project.
I can, but I can also turn the mic on. Huh?
There you go.
My name is Kira. I am from a little podcast called Blur's Eyeview. I'm very excited to see all of y'all here today. It brings me such joy, pride. My childhood me is screaming. This question is for Yamara. Hi. I wanted to know, you say that you found out about your Korean heritage when you were 15.
I did say that.
Yes. I wanted to know what that was like for you, and has that influenced your writing since then in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, so my mom married a black man, had a bunch of black kids, but she was very much about, like, we're human. So when I filled out like any kind of paperwork that asked about race, she would make me write in human. And so she was like, you're a Heinz 57, you're mixed with everything. She was adopted out of the Korean War when she was 4 years old. And it wasn't until I was 15 and I was kind of like looking at my baby hair, like, ooh, look. That we just like had this conversation where she was like, well, yeah, you're mixed. And I was like, what? And it wasn't that she was keeping information from me as much as it was just not stuff we talked about. And I think because she was a single mom, and she just was so about we are all one. that it wasn't until I got on Blackish that I really started kind of digging into, not like my black side, because I was on the Boondocks, but having those arguments and stuff in the writer's room and really just kind of like exploring all parts of my culture and just kind of figuring it out. But from a writing perspective, I think that I just kind of really understood that I have the opportunity to tell a very specific, unique story.
I'm confused, wait.
Huh.
What was you? Your mama was it? Wait, who was he? What?
My mom's Korean and my dad's
Your mom's
black.
Korean?
Yes.
And your dad's black?
Yes.
And you grew up with both of them?
No, I grew up with my mom.
Only your mom?
Yes.
So you did,
So, and she has no Korean heritage because she was adopted by a black family.
but she looks Korean.
She looks Korean.
But that ain't time.
Yes.
So that, okay.
She wrote a rap called Soul to Soul,
Oh.
S-E-O-U-L.
That's what I was
To
going to ask.
S-O-U-L.
Yeah, she knows that.
Yeah, it wasn't a good rap, but it was written.
She was influenced.
She was influenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a little afro wig, like she
Yeah,
was for the culture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I just never made the
And
connection.
nobody said nothing to her.
No.
Just let her rock.
Nope.
And so what did, I know your mom had told you human. I'm sorry, I'm very.
No, go. Keep.
We just really started knowing each other in the last couple of days because I refused to talk to her when she wrote that book down. That's
It was a thing.
It was a thing. I didn't talk to nobody.
Why won't we talk to you about it? What did I do?
She know what she did. That Asian.
And I would do it again.
That was her mama coming out.
So what did you, when you were young, other than human, like what did you think?
I was black.
Okay.
Yeah, I was black. And so, you know, but I also wasn't in a household, it's not that she was like not pro-black, we didn't talk about race like
Gotcha.
that. And so it wasn't until I was in rooms like the Boondocks where I was like, oh, we're talking about stuff and we're gonna dig in. It was really, really scary at first because I didn't want to be on the wrong side of the argument and I didn't really have a point of view yet, except we are all one, you know. And then I got a point of view. You've heard it.
Thank you.
I'm just light skinned.
Tafari TV, also from Blaird's Eyeview. Gary, I gotta say thank you because you did a podcast for a friend of mine about a year ago called Do You Speak Geek? And you were kind of giving Phil Lamar some grief and I was kind of egging it on. And you kind of gave me a shout out, but it was so professionally cut. I use that for my YouTube intro now.
Then they wanted you all in the, Kit Fisto. Thank you so much, Tafari TV. Tafari TV, giving you the information when you need it the most. Tafari TV.
He appreciates that for sure.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna use that. He's like, Chris, can you put in a soundbite? Yes.
Tafari TV, giving you the information when you need it the most. Tafari TV.
I also gave Phil your message.
So Phil Lamar literally owes me everything. Even the stuff that I had nothing to do with. Phil Lamar owes me that. Will he pay up? Yeah. Phil's ridiculous.
He actually says, yeah, that man owes everything he has in his life to me, his house, his car, everything.
He said, and I quote, unless
Gary had created the black version, then I'd owe him everything.
Here's why I said Phil Lamar owed me. But first of all, me, Phil, Cedric, Yarbrough, and that's more of us. We have been in an improv comedy group in LA now for how many years is it?
12, 13.
Yeah, about 13 years. It's called the black version then. But years ago, I was on Star Wars and I was Kit Fisto. But because I was also on another TV show at the same time, Boston Legal, I couldn't, the guys from Star Wars would not allow me to do both of them. So I had to give up the role. And then Phil took the role, ran away with it, and then he became Kit Fisto. So I hate him now. But in a loving way, that man.
I was just told to let you know, but for all of you, nobody on screen or in this room or affiliated with anyone here, leaked the pilot for the Boondocks last year, and I'm just curious what went on or what caused the changes between the animation was different?
Oh, I never even saw this.
It was hiding in plain. It's like an old catalog site where they just keep old CDs, and someone just released it. So I'm just curious what went on between what we all know and what that was. Your design was different. Huey had a different voice.
Yeah.
It was a 6-minute short.
Yeah.
And that was just a presentation. That was a presentation pilot. I don't think if it's the Fox one.
Because originally the show was for
Yeah, Fox
Fox.
was the first person who said yes.
And then
they said no.
They said no. It was like it was too much for it, right?
Yeah, it was too much. Good words.
I never saw the thing that you saw.
Oh yeah, Huey was voiced by somebody different. I think Jasmine almost seemed like more of a love interest for him.
I watched that before I think when I met with Sony for staffing. That's what I watched to get the job. And then we got in the room and he was like, yeah, we're not doing that. Okay.
How's it going, guys? My name is Steven. This is Rap. Now, a lot of people across the internet will always say, if the Boondocks was out today, it would go crazy because of the amount of historical moments that's been happening throughout the last few years. From your perspective, your point of view, what moment in the last couple of years, historical moments that you guys felt like this would be comedy gold for the Boondocks?
Shannon Sharp for me. Shannon Sharp. I think the three that stand out, January 6th, I always said January 6th.
Yeah.
Led by Ruckus.
Bad down.
There you go. You keep getting shot. You're one of the leaders. Put it on one side, you know. And I think the puppy trial of R. Kelly was his attorney. That would be stand out. Because R. Kelly has expertise in a lot of what he can represent them well.
Hello, my name is Ron Leonard. I'm with Big Bro Broly out of Dallas, Texas. Big fan of the show and so glad to be here. I did have a question for Gary and Cedric. I wanted to ask if there's a lot of creativity and a lot of content creators out here and whatnot, and so I just was interested, what were your opinions on what maybe Stinkmeaner and Uncle Ruckus think about DreamCon and just all the beautiful black folks out there to get out the way?
I've heard several errors in your conversation already. I heard you say beautiful black folks. That is not proper. That is an impossibility. Now, I am reminded of that thing on the internet right now. It's like, one gorilla versus 100 men. I'm looking at a room full of gorillas right now. And it don't matter how many, it's a dangerous place. I'm watching my wallet constantly. I don't know what damn dream that y'all think y'all have. So that's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm smelling more hair grease than I was smelling my whole damn life. And the amount of braids that I see in here, I want to put them all in a rope and climb myself out of here like a mother and the fuck out of here. Make me not. I did over to you.
Well, is this on?
Yes.
I fucking hate everything. And I hate everything that you just said. I hate the braids, I hate the grease, I hate the lotion. I do love the sexy, did you see the one nerd there that had the booty out?
That's just the booty, yeah, I call it the booty nerd.
That was nice. I did enjoy that, even though I am blind. How's that, motherfucker?
But in all honesty, like this is honestly the first true black con that I've totally done. This has been mind blowing. It's been absolutely mind blowing. Yeah. Well, look at this one. I love it. I always got to have one in there.
Just to make sure everything runs.
I question love over here behind the camera. It's been incredible. Like I had no idea what to expect at all, and it's been mind blowing. So, thank you for all the support. Like to the love for the Boondocks in general, not just the Ruckus character, which thank you for all the writing you did on that guy, Rodney. But just the love for it in general is pretty much beyond my belief, you know. So it's been magic.
I'm from Video Approach Podcast. So in Philly, my question to you as a group. So it's like two parts to it. So one part for you as the voice actors, and one for part as you as the writers. Like the characters, coming up with them. So on the first part, writing them, how did you like come up with the concept of that, and then how did you, as the voice actors, produce those concepts, and then like come up with the way the characters actually like how you animated them? You know what I mean?
I can speak for Stinkmeaner. We knew we wanted to do an episode where Granddad was going to get into a fight. That episode is called Granddad's Fight. And we knew we wanted him to get into a fight with an old man. And so at the time, I would write these quirky little bios about characters that would, you know, just kind of be fun little, I don't know, they would have weird names and you know, idiosyncrasies. And so I just went up and wrote a little bio about who I thought this guy would be. And in the bio, his whole shitty life was leading up to the moment where he smelled new shoes and got to step on Granddad's brand new sneakers. And he was happy. That was the only thing that ever made him happy. And before that, he hated everything. And he would never be happy again. It was just that one moment, that one day moment he was excited about. And so, you know, and then life was breathed into Stinkmeaner.
I just remember we were going to have a table read, and I was kind of a placeholder for someone more famous and bigger. And I think they really wanted.
What did it mean?
No.
Either
Okay,
Morgan Freeman. Morgan. I've been over hard.
Have you seen your friend Andy Dufresne?
My good friend Andy Dufresne. Oh. So they had a placeholder for someone else to do the role, but they wanted me to just read that day for it. And I saw the description and it just made me laugh. And I loved, I was telling this story earlier about how I loved Schoolhouse Rock as a kid.
I'm just up here, this guy who just kind of had this really cool voice. A jazz musician named Jack Sheldon. And, you know, he bad in conjunction, he was just really cool with it. And I just turned mine up and made a mess.
And so it was birthed of that. And then at the end of February, they were like, we're not getting Morgan Freeman. We can't afford it. Two, you're here, so that's how at least that character came. And then the great direction of Andre Romano, along with Carl Jones and Aaron Magruder, of course, directing what they thought they could get out of me to make him more cantankerous, more hateful, you know, throw out some really bad lines of, you know.
You got bad credit, Robert.
That kind of stuff. More hateful.
It's hard now. Like I grew up on Schoolhouse Rock, and just to think that that's where you got that.
That's right.
It's just the best.
I met him years ago, before Jack Sheldon passed away. There's a jazz club called the Baked Potato in LA, and he used to play on Friday nights. And I visited him before he passed, but he was playing, and I said,
Hey Jack, has anyone ever done you to you before? Hey, that's pretty good, kid.
It was really nice to meet him.
For me, it was always Ruckus. I mean, I think from the beginning, channeling all the old black men in my neighborhood that hated black people. You know, it was that energy. I think there was a period between the Fox pilot where there were all of these things that we wanted to say we couldn't because it's on Fox. and then going to Adult Swim. Now you can say anything that you want. And I remember the first riff of sitting down and counting how many times you're gonna say nigga throughout, and punctuated every sentence. And a little bit of pushback along the way, but it was necessary for Ruckus to be able to express himself. And I believe Ruckus has expressed himself.
The beauty, the through line and symmetry of that is, I grew up in the Deep South, and my dad had these friends who would come over on Sundays, and wondering why he didn't drink no more. And it was a group of friends he had, some of them who hated other black people.
Well, mine would be like, that's what Dr. King get.
Yeah.
It should have been out there.
And I was always like, why you even, because my daddy wasn't that, but he like,
no,
like, why are you hanging around these dudes? But now I mean,
the white people up.
Yeah. He was, like one of the guys, his name was Mr. Candy Walker, and he would be like, if you shake hands with a white man, you shall become friends. He was always dropping around on a Sunday telling us how to like white people. Like, what are you doing? So and that's
2 days worth of good luck if you shake hands.
Oh yeah. You let a white man pat you on the head, that's that man dead in your life. All right.
It's like a leprechaun.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate you.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Chad from the Fusion Hop Podcast. Gary, the last time we interviewed you, thank you for that, by the way.
Of course.
We'll go for that. You were saying that you didn't really understand the impact that Ruckus had on the community until you started going to the cons and really started to see it.
Right. The first, like I think I mentioned the first time, I think my son was it may have been high school, I think, and he was like, hey Dad, everybody knows Uncle Ruckus. What are you talking about? Because we hadn't done the show in forever. He's like, everybody knows him. And I had no idea. And then I went to a con, and then it was like, what's going on here? So no, I had zero idea of the Boondocks impact and Uncle Ruckus impact. I just knew it was fun, but I had no idea.
Yeah, because that was part of my question now is, how do you guys feel about the impact that the Boondocks has had on the culture, and how has it impacted your lives?
Y'all go first.
It's still very unbelievable to me that something we did 20 years ago is still relevant. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you got to try to make it relevant. Like I can't go on YouTube or Insta or TikTok or something without somebody doing something from one of these, because like you said earlier, it's the evergreen stuff or stuff that still has the same energy of, like in R. Kelly or like it still has that same energy, and the writers tap into that stuff, with some really out there characters. It was a Peabody Award winning show. Even at the time, it wasn't just a nothing show, so it had some social conscience to it then. But it's still hard for me to understand what's going on. I'm not lying to you. It still is.
Yeah, and doing these cons, I was talking to Gary about this before, about doing these cons, as an actor, you are always trying to move forward and keep going and trying to find another job and keep it moving. And you guys live in a past for us that is relevant, but we did it already. And being able to visit y'all, see y'all, talk to you, and touch you, and you guys can interact with us and tell us how much it works for you is a kind of a like, oh wow, I didn't know that really affected you that way. We live in a kind of a bubble that we're still we're doing more things. But y'all are like, when Stevie Wonder will play a song that he's kind of obscure, maybe at a concert or something, and you want him to play the hits, play the hits. I know this song, but when you play ass, that's our stuff. Like these are the hits, with Reno, with Boondocks, with our shows that you guys live in and still have memes and it's still ongoing, and it's crazy.
And that's also a thank you for like keeping that stuff alive, because it was a great part of our lives and still is. Like, you know, I have fun literally every day of my life doing what I'm, you know, the cartoons I'm doing right now. But that was the first big one when I moved to LA doing the Boondocks. So it was definitely a great time, and to get to see the joy that it brought other people and get to meet everybody. Most of you have been to my table. I make sure to give that love back.
Oh, yes.
Like, it means everything. It means everything to me that somebody's gonna take time out of their day to come up. If you ain't buying nothing, I don't give a shit, just to talk, you know, hang out for a second. I'm gonna open mouth.
Yes, he's gonna kiss you.
I'm gonna open
Not only
mouth.
one big man sometimes. That's good. Yeah, they're gonna kiss you in the mouth.
Yeah. So it means a lot to be able to, like, you know, meet the people and to give a little back. The things.
I think it's also great having like situations like this where you can celebrate a show and you can go back. I think that's the great thing about cons. You give the definition.
By the way, cons is short for convention.
Yeah, not convention, not convention. No. But it's great to be able to, you know, celebrate the past. You know, because you know, I see what you were saying. You get into this career where you're always moving forward. Something ends, you move to the next thing, move to the next thing. And then to have people come back and celebrate. And the show was only, I think, 55 episodes. It wasn't like it went on like The Simpsons, like 1,000 years. But the impact that was made, especially the first 2 seasons, I think is something that I'm most proud of. Just that period of time when everything was clicking and moving in a certain way. It was as much idealism as I think I've ever seen in the comedic process. Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
brother.
welcome.
Hi guys, thank you for being here.
Well, you got a deep voice.
Oh.
That voice. That's an R&B voice. You gotta sing something. Yeah.
Thank you. So my question to you guys, I've seen a recurring theme across the talent that I've interviewed and spoken with this DreamCon of imposter syndrome. Have you guys experienced that during your careers? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Can you break down the definition of imposter syndrome?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So imposter syndrome is essentially a feeling of you don't belong in a certain position or space that you're in, even if you've already made it. So for example, I can have 1 million followers and still feel like I'm not really an influencer or I'm not really a creator. So that would be an example of imposter syndrome.
I'd say for the first decade of my career, you know, to me, it's a massive sense of insecurity. I came from working class people in the working class world, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in writers' rooms with some of the funniest people around. And it took a long time to feel comfortable. I still don't know if I feel completely comfortable in that space. Because making things in Hollywood is so, you have to constantly pivot, you have to constantly think on your feet. And if you don't have a lot of experience in it, a lot of times, the biggest thing that I had to learn was everybody lies to me. And I didn't come from that world. The way executives talk, networks talk, you hear someone saying something to you, and you have to figure out what they're saying, what they're really saying. And I'm naive at the time. So it's easy for me to completely dismiss me and lose myself in another person. And I think that feeds the imposter syndrome, because you don't see yourself. And it took a long time to get to a place where there was enough confidence and steadiness to sort of neuter it. It comes back and forth. I don't think it ever completely goes away. But it does create a weird kind of narcissism to where you're so worried about you and being found out that you don't know what you're doing or whatever, that it buffers you to actually being able to experience, like when Gary talks about how much joy he gets from doing it and performing, you're so worried that you don't get to feel that joy. You know, for me, it was like every day somebody's gonna figure out I shouldn't be here. And just being able, after, like I said, a decade of doing it, getting more and more and more comfortable with that idea. It's still not completely. But,
Thank you. Did any of you guys want to speak to that as well?
I don't have that.
Okay. You're an attractive man. You're really attractive.
I'm gorgeous. And I know it.
If I look like you, I wouldn't have to.
No, but here's the thing. As many things as you've seen me in or do, I've gotten 3 more million no's.
Yes.
And so when I get something, I know I've earned it. and I've been able to do this for a little while, so I'm like, okay, I think I actually know how this works a little bit. And yeah, damn right, I belong, because I earned this shit, because this is hard. It's a hard life at times. It can be lonely. It can be, just living in Los Angeles sometimes is rather difficult. And to Rodney's point, a lot of people are lying to you a lot of times. So some of that is baked in the cake. But who I am and what I do, and I definitely feel like I belong. I definitely did the damn thing for sure. And I'm trying to keep it going. But I believe in myself. I've worked with some of the best people that have made me even better. Gary makes me funny. I wait for him to do something, and then I do this shit. On top of that. So I get to work with amazing people that have also earned their spot as well. No one's an imposter here. No, not one bit. We've earned our spot.
I think the biggest thing is sometimes when that's not intrinsic, and a lot of times I was the only brother in the room on other shows. And there isn't a lot of that sense of community or camaraderie that you initially feel. It may come over time, but I came from a small town. I didn't come from a town that was structured and organized to where I could have that. I naturally had that.
Yeah.
It had to be developed over. If you do something long enough, after a while, you go, wait, this isn't a fluke. But in the beginning, I think it's harder. And I think it's harder oftentimes for us because I don't think it was built. The system was built necessarily to nurture you into a process. You have to come in guns blazing from the beginning. So
I don't think I've ever really had imposter syndrome either. More like Cedric, but
Well, you're an handsome man too.
I'm very handsome.
Gorgeous.
For my skin type, I'm very handsome.
That's a great point. You're the guy from Cambridge.
I do feel like there's been a couple of times in my life where I've looked around and like, what am I doing here? Not that I don't deserve to be here. First of all, that just deserve to be something to me is always bullshit. Like, it's like everybody does their thing. To me, Hollywood is always a game. It's always a game. It's always bullshit. It's sometimes fruitful. Do I choose to play the game or not? And that's it. And I choose to play the game because I have more fun than it brings me pain. You know what I mean? I have a lot of fun. I don't do stuff that I don't enjoy doing it unless I absolutely 100% have to. And that comes around rarely. There's only been twice in my life. One day about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I was in the voiceover booth and I'm doing a job and I go, oh my God, I'm a professional. I never even thought about it, like literally. And I've been working for years and years because it doesn't mean that much to me. What means something to me is me getting to go do what brings me joy every day, and that's it, That's what means something to me. And another time I was on stage 2 years ago at this weird thing, and Paul Rudd is up there with me, and like all of these people, and I look around, I was like, what the fuck am I doing on stage next to these people? But it never was. They're gonna find out I don't know what I'm doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. Cedric, as good as he is, doesn't really fucking know what he's doing. He doesn't. I watch it. I watch it. Cedric can drop himself in the middle of a moment and run like hell with it, but he doesn't have it planned. None of us really know what we're doing. We're just doing the thing. So I can't be an imposter going, I'm this great actor, when it's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun doing what I'm doing. Nobody really knows. You don't know what's going to happen. So, no, I've never felt like I didn't belong. It's like, I'm just gonna do it. So.
Absolutely, that's a really great thank you. I have one follow-up question to you guys. If you could go back in time, back to when you first started in this career and say anything to yourself, what would you say?
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna work out. I would relax. I would enjoy it.
Yeah, same. It is very worrisome. Like, is this actually going to be something? And being able to live in that moment and just say, just relax, it's going to be okay. Then that way I think I would have enjoyed the journey more.
Mine is, I used to have this really cool green shirt. I'd be like, don't forget where you put that green shirt, because if I had it now, that'd be great. Huh? I could have worn it today. But I'm with them. Just, like it's fine. Like, it does. You might fail sometimes, like he said, we get an inordinate amount of auditions and stuff coming through. We get very few of them, but it's the ones you get that you make something of. That's what matters. So it's all good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm Fani from the partner and sponsorship team here at VidCon. And the question I have is, if Boondocks were to, we're still happening right now, what kinds of changes would you want for the show? If you want any changes to the show or to the characters at all? Yeah.
I think that's a problem a lot. You get asked that question, if the show were to come back, what would you like it to be? I would love it to be what it always was when it was at its best, but I don't know if the industry would let the show be that today. And I say that only because there was no social media at the time in the same way that it was 2003 versus today. And I just don't know if a corporation would allow a show to be like that. I could be wrong, because Chappelle is still doing, you have pockets of things where people can say things and do things satirically and survive. I've never seen it with a show like The Boondocks in that way. It's like Family Guy, they do what they do, but they didn't go as far as we went, or they did with Dean Wendell. So I would love to do it the way it's always been. I think that's the best. I've heard people say and had conversations about doing Riley being older and this and different things, but I love the original thing the way that it was.
Yeah, live in it lived in the moment. It lived in the current. So let it live in the current of whatever it is, daytime it is. Yeah, I wouldn't go, well, I want Ruckus to be more blah, blah. No, he's gonna deal with his environment the way he's gonna deal with his environment, the way he dealt with his environment then. So I'm with Rodney.
Yeah, same.
One more thing. I also have an idea for a potential Boondocks episode if they were to come out. A three-parter on Kanye.
On what?
A three-part episode on Kanye. Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, what about it? There's no place to put it, but it's a great conversation. But yeah, the rap ball. Did Kanye really fall, or did he just move in with Ruckus?
The three Kanyes?
All right, guys, we got time about one more question before our next press conference. So I'm gonna let him ask his question, and then we're gonna wrap up. All right.
Thank you guys for being here, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Sure, this is a pretty simple question. I'm Jay from Corner, by the way. We talked a lot about what the most appreciated parts of the Boondocks were. What do you think one of the more underappreciated parts of the Boondocks is?
Underappreciated?
Underappreciated. I mean, I think the character design and the art, shout out to Son Kim, that I think the look of the show, it's homage to anime. I think the detail and the beauty of just how it looks, like it's a pretty show. And I think that just the aesthetics of that, I don't know if people give it the credit. In the pantheon of other anime and the other things, I think it deserves its own distinction.
As a voice actor, I always worried that, not worried, I always thought did like people like Rodney who created the character I do and put those words in my mouth. They let us improv a lot on the show too, but to make sure that people it's, Ruckus is funny when you said that. Yeah, but that was somebody else, just to make sure that the writing truly got its due, it's just a playground we got to play in. But I always wanted to make sure that, and when we're doing at the booth and stuff, I always make sure that people realize that the stuff that they enjoy that came out of my mouth came from this dude's head first. Are you crying?
I am crying. Because this is the last question. We can get the fuck out of here. I think the music needs to have more love, because those beats, the music is so damn black and so much full of soul that it just really just sets the foundation for what that show was. you know, with Charlie Brown, that music was so that, and ours is so, you know, it just set the plate for what the show was saying and what it was doing.
Shout out to Big Tank.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Lady from Geek by Hearts.
Lady Mandalore, also known as Roomful of Blurs.
Chris Fury.
We'll be watching Mayhem Media.
And you are watching?
Okay, can you guys sit for just a half a second or stand? Stand and pose for a thumbnail from YouTube.
Uh-oh. What's happening?
Who's doing it?
Posing.
Right there at the back.
All these poses gonna look a lot alike.
Alright, y'all look at me real quick. 3, 2, 1. Alright,
Alright, next pose.
We'll do it like back in the day.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the cons, like cons. Yeah, this D block.
With your left hand.
They're gonna put this on Ebony.
Thanks everyone. The next press conference coming in right.